Yo, 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 this is not the smartest guys in the room. I see Tom. Welcome, Tom.
What's up, buddy?
I'm feeling good today. I shot out of a cannon, went to a networking event this morning in person, IRL, in real life. I drank 2 sips of coffee today and it already hurt my stomach instantly. What is wrong with me? Why am
It hurt your stomach?
Yeah, man, I don't know what's going on. I bloat like nobody's business. Everything I eat bloats me. I want to talk about social media. I want to talk about attention, interest media, but Tom, everything, whether every day, everything bloats me, and my stomach goes woo, and it's like I'm a cartoon.
Yeah, I am not at all even remotely an expert in gastrointestinal issues, but I would say maybe talk to a GI doc.
Did it all, man. The only thing that doesn't, honestly, the only thing that doesn't bloat me, I see my friend Jim Ajay's here. The only thing that doesn't bloat me is fried chicken. I'm telling you, it's like I've ruined myself, and now only fried chicken is what will help me through the day.
Have you talked to a dietitian?
Have I talked to a dietitian?
Yeah.
No, I had every scope there was. I take some kind of pills. I had a big ulcer a few years ago, and now, I mean, ever since then, it's just how it is. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, sorry. Hey, this is not the smartest guys in the room. As you can see by me saying I get bloated by whatever I'm eating, we are not the smartest guys in the room. So we had a plan to talk about, there's this conversation going around right now about social media versus attention interest-based media. So years ago, you'd see The Rock or Charlie D'Amelio wind up with 500 million followers. And then all of a sudden they were selling tequila and selling Dunkin' Donut drinks. And it seems like they're not getting the views on their content as much. And now somebody that has something interesting to say or unique or filmed something weird happening in a neighborhood, even though they had 100 followers, is blowing up. So that's where I wanted to start, Tom, and then let's go down this path.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would just to put a pin in how we started the conversation.
Okay.
I would say talk to a dietitian, right? Not a nutritionist, right? Anybody, I could literally go and get certified as a nutritionist today on the internet, right? Like, so don't go see a nutritionist, see a dietitian. Dietitians are the ones who are licensed to go through exams, right? Who actually have science-backed educations in what they do. So go talk. I would suggest, if you want to figure out what's going on, I would suggest talking to a dietitian. That's what they do, is they help people optimize what they eat for their body, right? So that's who I would talk to try to figure out your issue. And don't try to live off fried chicken. I mean, have some fried chicken here and there, like, by all means, definitely, because it's delicious, right? But yeah, don't try to live off of it. Yeah. So anyway, getting to the more pertinent topic, talking about social media versus sort of attention or interest-based media, which was a distinction. You know, you shared an Instagram video with me from Gary Vaynerchuk talking about this. I think he's got a point. It's kind of very unsurprising to me to hear him talk about this in this way, because I think it is very much in line with what he's been talking about for years, right? For years and years and years, Gary Vaynerchuk's been going on and on and on about the attention economy, right? That it's all about attention. It's all about attention. It's all about attention. Post 46 times a day, whatever, right? Like, get as much attention as you can, garner as many followers as you can. If you get attention, you build a following, then you can sort of parlay that into something bigger, something concrete. And that's the way things have been for a long time. Now, the big shift that he was highlighting in that video, and that I 100% agree with, is that it's not so much about volume and it's not so much about follower count as it is about interest, right? It's about your audience, what you're providing for them, whether or not they're interested in what you're providing, right? Whether or not they feel that it delivers value to them, right? And this is where it gets very obvious that I agree with this idea that ultimately, whoever delivers the best value to their audience is going to gain the audience, right? Is going to gain that attention. And it's one of the reasons why, when you look at, there's a couple of things like in marketing trends, when you look at marketing trends, that more and more and more we're looking at, brands are aligning with micro influencers, they call them, right? People who have like less than 10,000 followers. So you don't need 5 million followers to secure a brand deal anymore. You just need a couple of thousand engaged followers and you can get a brand deal, right? I have a couple of thousand followers on Instagram. I could probably get a brand deal if I really wanted to. So there's opportunity there for micro influencers, because ultimately what it comes down to is it's about the attention that you draw. It's about the value you deliver to your audience and how they interact with your content that helps you grow. It's not just a numbers game like it used to be. So I think that's what Gary Vee was kind of highlighting in that post. It's something I agree with. At the end of the day, I think the people that deliver the most value win. So it's not about how flashy you are. It's not about who shouts the loudest, right? I've been talking about this recently in my newsletter and in other places. It's not about who's the loudest. It's not about who's the fanciest. It's not about who's the shiniest. It's about who delivers the best value for their audience. That's what really matters. And that's what draws attention. And that's what moves the needle. And that's where social media is moving more and more, because that's where media is moving more and more towards, right? It's more and more being driven by who delivers the best value, whether that's entertainment or education or escapism or whatever the case may be. Whoever delivers the best value for their audience wins.
That's fair, Tom. All right. Tom's take. Okay. Now, can you play that? I wonder if you can play that game. Is it a game? Can you? My belief is that everybody in this room, everybody needs to put out 5 times more content as well, just because even if it's when we say interest, like interest in what Tom does, Brian does, Julie, and you have a brand and you position your brand a certain way. But are there ways that you could put out more content? Like I'd love to see behind the scenes of Tom's filming. I've never seen that. That would be interesting to me, and maybe I would follow, or a production meeting of Tom yelling at everybody, or Brian in his van driving to his next speech or something like that. I'd like to see that. And then bringing, okay, that's me. And then maybe if I saw that, I'd be more interested in the other content. So I wonder if Julie posted more videos with her and her little dog that she has, that all of a sudden, if she was talking about media, if people would be more interested. Some people is my point, not everybody. So if you're putting out all these, still based on what you do, but could you put out these pieces of content where Julie's with her dog, where Brian's in his van, where Tom's behind the scenes, where Dominic's on his bike, where Dominic's in this office here? Put out those different things and see what garners the attention of your followers. Go on.
Yeah, I was going to say you absolutely can. I think the key there is to delineate that it's not a volume thing, right? That it's about what garners the interest, right? That thing you said right at the end. So yeah, absolutely put out that sort of what I would call sort of interstitial content, right? So sort of the content, the stuff between the sort of highlights that normally people would focus on, right? So like the highlight would be the end product of the shoot, right? If you were talking about the example you gave for me, right? The highlight would be the end product of the shoot. The interstitial stuff would be the things that come in between the sort of highlight. So it would be, the highlight would be getting the job, then, going into production, and then the final product, right? Maybe those are the 3 high points, but what happens in between those high points that you can use to kind of stitch it together to tell a more complete story, that might be really interesting to your audience. So something like that definitely works because it's intentional and because, you're doing it with a purpose. Conversely, it's not just about pumping out content to pump out content, right? And I think that's where people get sort of misled is, yes, could people post more? Absolutely. Is it going to hurt you? Probably not. But at the end of the day, don't just post as much as you possibly can without purpose, without intention behind it. because it's really not going to do anything valuable for you. And you're going to sit there going, I post 6 times a day. I don't understand why I don't have 1 million followers. And it's like, hey, knock, knock, buddy. Are you giving them anything they want? Or are you just throwing stuff at the wall and nothing's sticking? And then you're upset and you're not learning from your mistakes. Right. So yeah, so that's, I just wanted to add that on to what you were talking about there. Brian, curious to hear what you think about this, this kind of shift that we're seeing in social media away from, sort of the social side and more towards the sort of interest or attention side. Have you noticed that? And what are your thoughts on that shift? Brian Swift. We lost him. Brian Swift. There he is.
He's back.
I'm here.
All right, Brian Swift. What are your thoughts?
I don't know if first, if it's really a shift. I think that's always been part of it. I think, there are listeners that listen for one reason, or people that watch for one reason, and listeners and people who watch for another reason. I don't know if there's a shift. The shift I see, and I've heard it, and you're probably the second or third people I've heard it from, and I do agree with it, that there's maybe a shift from quality to quantity, from quantity to quality. And maybe people now this is what I think John Wiley does better than anybody else. This is why John is amazing. This is why he is so successful, is he follows the analytics like crazy. He knows his analytics. And I think if you're that serious into it, I know you could check, how many people are attentive to what posts, how long they're, you can micromanage your posts. And I think people who do that tend to be more successful because they find out what people are spending more time on. And then they post what people are spending more time on. So it was like in sales, you could throw, there was quantity and there was quality, and it was trying to find that right mix, right? It was making enough calls, but making sure they were quality calls instead of just making tons of calls or tons of door swings back in the day. And so I think it's finding that sweet spot in between the two that is what, like John has found through his deep dive into analytics. And I don't think it would hurt anybody to do a deeper dive into their analytics. And I could use it tremendously to see what exactly people are finding and spending their time on watching and or listening. I'm complete.
All right, good stuff, Brian. I wonder how this media is being indexed. So here's where I would argue or just think differently. Like back in the day, unless you used a hashtag or you had so many followers, people weren't seeing your content. So today, if I went on TikTok and let's say I like Soprano movies and I love clips of Breaking Bad, even though I don't follow any of these people, clips of Breaking Bad and Tony Soprano is all through my feed. Everybody that's making videos or breaking down a scene or anything like that, I'm seeing all day long. I do not follow these people. So that's where the interest, I believe, is changing. So all of a sudden, now I don't know how they're indexing, and that's what we need to research. So before, if I searched hashtag Tony Soprano, I'm seeing content that said Soprano. Now I'm seeing Soprano without me searching for it or following. So that's where I land on that. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to Julie Loken. Julie, you're in this world. We talked to Phil Hill yesterday a little bit. Phil Hill's creative. He's doing Amazon. I think they call it a small influencer. How's that work, Julie? So give us a rundown on Phil Hill and then weigh in on that.
Why do you do that to me? Like I have to look through my notes now.
No.
UGC.
Yeah, UGC. That was what is UGC?
I don't remember.
User generated content.
Oh yeah.
User generated content. So Phil Hill, to what Tom was saying, is almost a Phil Hill stops through here from time to time. He's a micro influencer where people will pay him to talk about their content. So or about their product. So he goes on and talks about, well, I tried this weed whacker, I tried this. And then people searching for weed whackers might find Phil Hill talking about how he said he was doing one of these steps that the elderly people use, that like they sit in front of their chair while they watch TV. Somebody paid him for a whole year to practice using this step and make some videos on it. So Phil Hill doesn't have a ton of followers when he talks about this machine that gets him in shape because he moves his feet up and down. So Julie, weigh in. Come on, I stole your thunder.
No, I think that's great. I mean, it's a great strategy. And the reason why I was like, I don't remember, I actually took notes on it yesterday when we were talking to him, and I invited him in the room so maybe he can come in and explain it better. But this is very timely because I got kicked off of LinkedIn, and I reflect on this. I spent a lot of time on that profile, adding all the details, projects, skills, recommendations for years, and it's just gone. So it's making me reflect on the power of social media, number one. Number two, I don't know if anyone noticed except for Dom. He's like, where are you? I'm like, so how important is it to be there on there? Are we being brainwashed? So I had to kind of rethink it. Okay, so I'm trying to get it back up. It was an accident that had happened, but it could take months. What are other avenues I can reach out to or utilize that gives me, and maybe it doesn't give me a bang for my buck. And that's what I'm really thinking about. So I just wanted to throw that out there to you wise gentlemen.
Okay, Julie, thank you. So she's saying, does any of it matter? That's a fair point. I mean, I would say it's the combination of many. So what do they say about it is not the last chop that brings down the tree. It's the many chops along the way that knock down the tree. So,
and I mean, it's important for visibility, right? To create your digital footprint. Absolutely. But what is your conversion rate on? Is your conversion rate worth you all the time you spend on these different platforms? Or are there better places to be putting your time, energy, and creativity into?
fair that, Julie. What say you, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. So here's the thing: is I think it's tough to look at it from a sort of very binary sales perspective, right? Which is kind of like, that's how I would describe what Julie just said at the end there, right? Is a very sort of binary sales perspective. Like, is the time equating to the conversions, right? And I think you have to think of it as a broader strategy than that, right? Like, it's not about, social media has never really been, and I think it gets, a lot of people have been mistaken or kind of led to believe this by this sort of the bro marketing sphere on social media, right? But social media was really never designed to be a sales platform, right? But a lot of people think of it now because of the likes of like Grant Cardone and Alex Hormozy and stuff as a sales platform, right? They look at Facebook as a sales platform. They look at LinkedIn as a sales platform. And that's not what it was designed to be, or how it was designed to be used, or how it was designed to be interacted with. So think of it more as like a broad strategy of first touch, right? So it's not about necessarily generating conversions directly. It's more about building a reputation, right? And that's kind of like, that's how I think of it. It's more about building brand reputation, and whether that's personal brand or your business, your organization, than it is about direct sales conversions, right? The brand reputation comes first. That's broader. Then hopefully it opens the door to conversations that can lead to a sale, right? Or lead to customer acquisition or client acquisition. But it doesn't do that, right? Social media doesn't do client acquisition, right? That's something you need to do. So I would just suggest, rather than looking at it as, am I making sales off of the time I'm spending on LinkedIn, for example, I would look at it as, is my audience growing, right? Is my audience engaged? Is my content being well received? Am I seeing it benefit the reputation of my brand and my business? And if the answers to those are yes, then I think you're probably on the right track for how to kind of think about and use and approach social media, from my perspective, right? I see it much more as a reputational tool rather than a sales tool.
Let me jump in on that.
Go on, Brian. What do you got for us?
So I do agree with a lot what Tom said. I think depending on what you're on it for, makes a difference. Also, if you're there as an author trying to push your book, if you're there as a nonprofit trying to get people interested in your cause, I think that all drives some of the why you're there for. I'll go back to Still and Dom, you sold. And Dominic, what was your best currency as a salesman? Think about it. I look at the best currency I can get out of Facebook is meeting people like Dominic, Julie, and Tom. That is my currency. That is to me probably the biggest thing I have ever accomplished was
Brian,
people.
can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
Currency doesn't pay for food on the table. And my point was, if you're spending all this time making videos and content when you should be doing other things as well, I totally get the reputation and connections, 1000%. But is it distracting in a way that is taking you away from your mission?
I think it's oversold and overrated. If you were to truly do an ROI based on time, Julie, I would say yes. I think that we spend way more time than we get back posting, because now that I have this currency, this relationship with a Julie, Dominic, or Tom, I know you guys will follow or look or comment, but it's because of the relationship, I think, more than sometimes the content. Maybe I'm wrong with that, but I think you follow and you like because of the relationship more than the content. And I think that's out there with a lot of people. And if you look at the amount of stuff that's posted or the time put in, I don't think there's a good ROI on it overall.
And I don't want to take back anything you said, because we're all right, I think. But if you think about the habits of when we're scrolling, how much do you actually remember? People, I always like my friends' stuff. Now, I just like Dom's post on Instagram, and you could take this for what it is. No offense, Dom. I don't remember what it was about. I just liked it. So what are those habits of that currency you're building?
All right, bring this on. Come on, bring it around here. And I appreciate the challenge, or it is a free, all of it. And then it's social media, right? It started, and now we're saying attention-based media. But to me, to a businessman, it is a free distribution platform. So I am able to distribute my content for free with an opportunity to get it out to the world. Tom mentioned about like selling yellow page ads. I used to have to stop at 20 people a day. And then maybe I didn't get in the door. And then maybe they told me come back the next day. Then when I was in pharmaceuticals, this office would say, we don't accept reps. And so I drive 50 miles to the next office. They'd say, we don't accept reps. Then I drive to the next office and they'd say, well, you got to schedule a lunch. Your lunch isn't for 3 months and it costs $800 because I had to feed 60 people Chick-fil-A or Chipotle. So in this free distribution platform, if you're thinking it's ROI immediately, you're wrong. That's where, like, from a sales perspective, like I hear, well, I didn't get, no shit. You didn't get it. Free distribution platform. I didn't have to drive 500 miles. I didn't have to pay $800. So when you're saying to a sale compared to knocking on the doors, driving hundreds of miles, I can get my information out to thousands of people, hundreds of people. But now with interest-based content, maybe thousands of people. I put up a reel of me and Tom talking, 3 reels from this last week. A couple got 1,000 views, some got 10 views, and that was just on YouTube. And on another site, they got this many views. And then another site, they get half. And then maybe they look at Motivation Champs. Maybe a month from now, they look at Motivation Champs. Maybe when somebody's publishing a book, because the next video I do is about the tips of publishing a book. They hated it. Now they're interested. They hated it. They hated it. Now I took my dog down in the basement with me while I was in my office looking at a book review. And now somebody says, this guy's got a dog and I'm going to watch his next video. So to me, free distribution platform. And I'm sorry to drone on about it, but when that's all. It's no more than that. You could send out, like I was just in a networking event this morning and somebody brought up that I could send out direct mail. You guys go try direct mail and you see what your return on direct mail is to get out to thousands of people. To get out to that same 1,000 people that any of you got on a video lately or your podcast or something, if you direct mailed that would only cost you $3,000 to send it out to that same 1,000 people. So Tom, I'm angry and intense about this, but go on.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hear you, and I think like look, I mean, I've said 100 times before, I'm not a salesperson. I don't have a sales background. I don't even particularly like sort of the work of sales. But one thing I do know is that like over time, what's most valuable to you is your reputation and your relationships, right? Like those are what ultimately have the best ROI, right? For the time that you put in, for the effort that you put in to building and maintaining your reputation and relationships, like that's way more valuable in the long term, right? Than banging on doors, dialing phone numbers incessantly and trying to hard sell everybody you come across, right? But instead, we've gotten drilled into us, there's this whole culture of like, everything's a CTA, everything's a sale. You should always be selling, right? Like there's like acronyms for this stuff, right? Like like ABS, always be selling, right? Like seriously, I hear people say stuff like that. It's ridiculous, right? And it's short-sighted. It might help you today make one sale, right? Whereas if you had spent a little bit more time building a relationship, that relationship could have turned into 10 sales down the road, right? So like ultimately they're much more valuable because they're also less perishable. Those immediate, quick, short sales that don't rely on relationship or reputation are perishable, right? They evaporate quickly. So I think at the end of the day, relationships and reputation are incredibly valuable and worth putting in the time and the effort and the energy to curate and to build and maintain, especially, at the sacrifice of like one quick sale, right? I will sacrifice one quick sale all day, every day for building a good relationship with somebody, because ultimately that's what's going to sustain me and help me grow my business down the line, right? Like, and I can tell you right now that most of my business, most of the work that I do, most of the income that comes into my business is because of relationships. Like not like even close, like probably 99% of it is because of the relationships that I've built over time. So like, it is what it is, right? Like it's just the fact. So anyway, that's all I got for that. I'm going to leave that there. This is not the smartest guys in the room. I'm Tom. I'm here with my buddy Dom and all the rest of you amazing people here with us as well. Thank you for being a part of this community. We appreciate and love you guys very much. And now I think Dom has a topic that he wants me to give a reaction to. So Dom, is it time for your favorite segment?
Yeah, it is time for my favorite segment. That is Tom's Thumbs. That's where I ask Tom something from social media, from pop culture, business, and think his thoughts on it, So Tom, today, and I got to frame this question. So AI generated videos with people, with puppies, with animals being saved that aren't necessarily real. So what do you think about creating AI generated videos with animals and puppies and doing spectacular things, standing on edges of cliffs or that aren't real?
So kind of like I have to actually tread a bit of a line here. This is a little bit of a challenge for me because on the one hand, I think anybody who knows me, right, or knows what I do, right, maybe doesn't know me, but just knows what I do, knows that I own a video production company, that my background's in television, that I've worked in production my whole professional life, would jump to the conclusion immediately that my reaction would be thumbs down to all AI generated video. And the truth of that is, it's not. I don't think AI generated video is inherently bad. I think you can use it in ways that can be good and useful and beneficial for projects and production. The thing that gets a huge thumbs down from me, a massive thumbs down, is AI generated video that is not labeled or identified as such that people are trying to pass off as real. That is a huge problem, and one that I think absolutely needs to be dealt with yesterday, right? Because there is an insane amount of AI generated content online, still imagery, text, video, right? More and more every day that's online, that's on social media, right? On the platforms that we're talking about today, that is specifically designed to mislead, manipulate the thoughts of and the emotions of and the thinking of people to trick them into giving away personal information, to be used as part of scams and phishing schemes, to defraud people, right? There's a huge problem with the way AI generated content is being used malevolently online. And I think that needs to be dealt with. And I think it gets a, I mean, I don't think it needs to be dealt with, and it gets a huge thumbs down from me. So if you're creating AI generated video content and trying to pass it off as real, you get a huge thumbs down. Your content gets a huge thumbs down. And I think we need to deal with this trend and these people swiftly and severely. This needs to be sort of collectively condemned online, because it is a misuse of this technology that we're developing. It's a malevolent use of this technology, and I think we need to make sure that it doesn't get out of control. Like right now, it's a small wildfire, right, that could easily get completely out of control if we don't do the work of containing it now, right? So for all of those reasons, for what I think it could become down the line, and for what it's doing right now, fake AI video getting passed off as real gets a huge thumbs down from me.
Thank you, Tom. That was good stuff, and a word you use that I'm now starting to use. That was quite a cogent argument. So, well, I just want to see, like, I see these wells, and they're taking the barnacles off of them, and the well has 1,000 like 1,000,000 barnacles. I'm like, oh, that's so nice. And then I realize it was fake. And then I see somebody taking chains off a cheetah or a cow on the side of, a cow or a deer. And then I realize, oh, it's fake. Or I see a puppy standing next to a pig and they're both smiling. Then I realize it's fake. I mean, come on.
What gave it away? The fact that pigs and dogs don't smile?
Well, I mean, it made me so happy. And I live in a world of sharing puppies and rainbows. So that was my thought on it. Okay, not the smartest guys.
I'll just say this, Dom. I think if it's marked, notated, advertised as AI generated, then there's no difference between that and a cartoon that makes you smile, right? Totally fine with it, right? The problem is that visually it is hard for people to identify, right? Hard for a lot of people to identify, and especially people who are of older generations, right? People older than us who have not grown up with technology, right? I mean, we grew up with technology to some extent. Kids now, right, are growing up with the technology integrated into their lives, in ways that we can't really understand because we didn't experience it. But like, I think about my parents, like, there's no way. I have to tell my parents all the time, like, this is fake, that's not true, that's not real, that's not a real video, that didn't actually happen, all the time, because they're just inundated with all this fake stuff that's not identified as AI generated, as fictional, as not real, whatever, right? So I think we need to do a better job. And not for nothing, but like, most of the stuff is promulgated through social media networks. And social media networks need to be called to task, right, and held accountable for the scams that are being propagated through their networks, right? For the frauds that are being propagated through their networks. So, I mean, so yeah. So conversely, like Zuck, you get a thumbs down too. Why not?
All right, you're passing them out, man. All right, social media, not the smartest guys in the room. We're talking social media versus interest media. So, my friend Debbie, I wanted to ask Debbie, you can be our case study, Debbie, as somebody who left one world and now is in the world of helping people tell their story and personal branding, helping raise awareness about domestic abuse. Do you see, Debbie, that some of your video and content is being picked up by people that weren't necessarily followers of yours? So people looking for that type of content, or is it all people that see the videos and content were followers? You're a case study. Go on.
Oh, geez, great. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Just love being a case study. You know, because I left my other world like about a year ago, but I would say in the last year, I have seen additional followers, and they're not from my previous HOA world. So I'm hopeful that the content that I'm putting out there is resonating, that people are, see it and are supporting it. So yes, for instance, my Pinterest is all of a sudden, growing. And that's primarily content from the coaching world that I'm in now. So it's like with everything else, it's my motto is slow and steady wins the race. So I just keep posting out there. I show up consistently, and I think that's a big thing. And then when I can, as I get comments and stuff, engage and interact and start building the relationship so that they get to know me better and see me for who I am. So I'll land my plane on that.
Well done, Debbie. Thank you for sharing. I will say, Debbie is consistent as heck, man. You'll see the content comes out, the stories come out. I know the message, I know the brand. She tweaks it, tries something new, but she is out there. So, and like you said, Debbie admitted here that she just jumped into this world, left the HOA world, right, Debbie? That was the world before?
Correct.
So here's Debbie doing something completely different than she had done her whole career and learning on the fly and doing a good job with it. So we should follow her lead and see that it can be done. So, okay, Trisha, we're coming around. Trisha, Sonia, Kathy, okay, get ready for this. You guys are all case studies today. Are you seeing, Trisha, a shift in your audience? Is it a one-by-one thing? Are you seeing comments? Is it, well, these people were my friends in high school? Or is it, oh, I'm getting some new followers because I put out this piece of content or this piece of content. I'm getting some different types of engagement. Go on.
So Dom, funny ask. So I have a account that's my own personal account that I do find that I have new followers on because of the people that I hang around with on a regular basis here on Clubhouse. And then I have another account that's a faceless account that has many, many more followers. And I think it's because of the content that I put out. It's just a health and wellness space, but I provide content on there that the people don't know who it is. It's just a account that offers information about wellness. And I don't think they really care who it is so much that's offering the content. It's just content that they're interested in. So, and that has many more followers, many more followers. So that's just what I have to offer.
Trisha, thank you for sharing that. Tom, you got thoughts on that?
No, I think I appreciate it. It's interesting. It is just interesting to hear from other people what their experiences are and how they're seeing people interact with their accounts online. So yeah, I just interesting to hear.
Hey, I want to point that out. I have the most hate I get recently. There's one guy that I noticed it like a couple months ago and got a comment. He was like, "This is the dumbest shit. I hate everything. Why the F would I care about this?" And I'm like, "Oh," so I look and I'm like, "This guy doesn't follow me." This, because I would like mute him or block him or something. So then just the other day, I posted something and he's like, "Again, this is the stupidest, dumbest." I mean, he went on, "Get off my feed." And I'm like, so either he's secretly looking at motivation and inspiration and doesn't want to admit it to himself, or like his wife or kid or somebody has his phone as well. And, and now it's feeding into his social content.
You know how I would respond to that? So here's what popped into my head. So I don't know where this came from. My wife actually told me about this. I don't know if it was something she saw. I think it was something she saw somewhere. Somebody did. Somebody was talking about it. That whenever like they have a sort of like road rage inducing incident when they're driving, right? Whenever they would typically like flip somebody off or yell at someone or curse them out or whatever for doing something on the road, what they have decided or resorted to doing instead is giving them a like full-throated thumbs up, right? So like literally like a good job, like one of those kind of things, like double thumbs up, like great job, right? Sort of like a sarcastic thumbs up. So like my response to that guy would be like, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. Right. So he's like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. And your response should be, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. Right. Just like drown him in kindness, like overwhelm him with positivity. Right. He's throwing negative stuff. What he wants and what people want when they do that is they want you to fight back. Right. They want you to sort of to reflect or mirror their sort of energy, their angst, their anger, their frustration, whatever back. And when you do the opposite, it throws them off. They don't know what to do about it. It's really entertaining. I've gotten some really strange looks from people giving them a sarcastic thumbs up when they, cut me off or do something stupid in traffic. So anyway, that's what I would say is like, do the opposite. Overwhelm them with the opposite energy that they're giving you, and it probably will be entertaining, at least to me. I don't know, maybe to you, probably not to him, but
Go back, because you got, when I first posted the reels from a Tom's Thumbs where we talked about Taylor Swift and Taylor Swift's relationship with Kelsey, I think that's what it was. Man, did you get some hate on social media. They were like, "What's this idiot talking about this now? It's not football season. Why is he so angry?" Yeah, they did.
yeah, I gave it a thumbs up.
Hey, they didn't like you, man. I'm gonna go in the comments.
I was angry about people getting angry about it. Like I was saying they're idiots, so maybe that's why they got upset, because they were like, "Hey, he's calling me an idiot because I got mad because that girl is supporting her boyfriend. Oh, what a jerk!" Right?
Hey, case study, Tom. Weren't you just supposed to say thank you? Isn't that what you advised us?
Well, I mean, yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I don't remember those comments, so I have no idea. In the moment right now, I'm going to go ahead and imitate them and double down on them being idiots. But that's just. But also, I'll do it with a smile on my face and have fun doing it. So I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. Let's roll. We got Sonia and Kathy we're going to talk to. Maybe we do a little show and tell. I might let you have a show and tell. Okay, Sonia, you're doing a lot of work with Autism Speaks, autism awareness. Are you seeing new followers and engagement based on subject matter rather than it being the people that you went to college with or high school or worked with over the years?
I definitely have seen more followers because of that, for sure. Different therapists, different people in the autism community. Some people actually, I just follow a lot of I've also found different people to follow as well through that.
Okay, good work. Keep up the good work, Sonia. Sonia was in the Wall Street Journal recently. She's blowing up out there. So on all kinds of TV shows. So again, somebody that started to share their story, entered a new world, and now is impacting a lot of lives. So keep up the good work. Okay, so I see these little things. So anybody that doesn't know, on one side we're on Clubhouse, the other side we stream, but I look at a little board with people. And Kathy, you're up next, but you should have been up before, but you came and left. So that sometimes the names scroll around if people wonder why I jump to one person or the next. That's just how I do it. I think I'm going in a line, but my line might look different than yours. Don't hold it against me. So Kathy, what say you on the subject?
Hi. Sorry, I did come and go because usually when you guys host this, I'm in the middle of taking my little girl to school. And can I just say that I just love that all these months later, you all are still doing this every week. And I keep coming back whenever I can. Either I listen to you on LinkedIn because I actually deleted Clubhouse. And this morning I reinstalled it just so I could speak to you too. So, and everybody else here, of course. So, what do I say about social media? I am having this love-hate relationship with it right now at this moment. It's quite frustrating. I was heavily active on LinkedIn last year, did a lot on LinkedIn. I even hired a LinkedIn coach and I went all in and I got tired of it. I got tired of it because it's me against the algorithm. And it doesn't matter who, which platform, there's always this damn algorithm that keeps coming up. And these days I'm focusing on YouTube. And man, again, the algorithm. But what I'm noticing with YouTube, the algorithm in YouTube, how much smarter, or maybe it's always been, and I just didn't realize it or know it, paying attention to the packaging, the entire package of a content that I push out. I've been experimenting with shorts on YouTube. Last week, I put up 3 YouTube shorts. Usually my shorts get about, get about 200 to 300 views. These ones got about 1.9 each, 1,900 each. And it was fascinating because it was the title, it was the description. And I had a little bit of help with AI, bless AI and writing. And we made it human. We made it a lot more human. And it's fascinating to me that just a couple of words here and there can make such a difference in your reach. Am I getting leads from it? Heck no. But it's presence, it's being there. And I'm one of those people that I do one channel at a time and I go all in. So I'm now experimenting with YouTube. That's where we're at. And interestingly enough, last night I did a post on LinkedIn, and the way I wrote that post, it was actually a call to action. It was to join my group for the month of June. And I'm like, who's going to sign up? This is totally a sales post. And it did really well. And it was just the way it was written. It was a story. It was a share. It was a message. And yeah, so it's always fascinating for me. But man, does it suck up a lot of energy and time. I'd rather be, supporting my community versus content creating all the time. So there's this give and take that I see that happens. I hope I made sense, Dom. And Dom, you're on my mind a lot these days because I do need to turn all of this stuff that I turn out into a book. So I'll be reaching out one of these days. So don't go anywhere. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. I think to some of your concerns there that you were sharing about the time spent creating content and the different platforms, like my thinking on that is I would work to systematize my content production, right? So rather than sort of doing a piece of content at a time, how can you make a thing that you can then repackage and repurpose into a bunch of pieces of content over time, rather than doing each piece of content as an individual thing, right? So that'll do a bunch of things for you. Besides sort of making it more efficient and saving time, it'll also mean that your content will be more consistent, both in terms of when you share it, but also in terms of what you put out, right? From a messaging perspective, it'll be more consistent, because if your content is, if you've got a week's worth of content coming from one source, right, that you've repackaged and repurposed, well, the messaging across all of that content is going to be very consistent because it's all from the same source, right? It's all drawing from the same well, so to speak, right? So the water's going to taste the same through the whole week, right? Because it came out of the same well at the same time, right? So that consistency in messaging will help. And then the other thing I would say too is, I get that you're, like, from a strategic perspective, focusing on one platform at a time. The thing I would encourage you to do is go ahead and just share stuff on your other platforms as well. So like you might be creating shorts specifically for YouTube to try to maximize the impact on YouTube, but like share those on Instagram, share them on Facebook, share them on LinkedIn, share them across all of your platforms as well, right? Don't like only share stuff on one platform at a time because that's the platform you're focused on. Share it everywhere, right? Like the broader a net you can cast when it comes to that kind of stuff, I think the better off you are, especially when you're thinking of it from a brand reputation perspective, right? From a footprint perspective, bigger footprints are easier to see than smaller footprints. So like if you're across a whole bunch of different platforms, then you're going to be easier to spot online. Right. And so I would suggest that as well. Now we're coming up. We're at 10:25 here. We got two quick things to do before we wrap out. We've been around the horn here, so to speak. Everybody up on stage has gotten a chance to talk, and we appreciate all of you for giving your insights and your thoughts on the topic we're talking about today. But before we get into the wrap up, we have a penultimate event or segment, so to speak, and that is Dom's show and tell. So Dom, what are you showing and telling us about this week?
Thank you, Tom. And part of the show and tell is to get you all over to the live stream, or YouTube or wherever. You got to check it out from time to time, see what we're doing. You don't just get to listen if you're not watching us right now. So okay, so here it is. I live in Pittsburgh. I am proud of my Steelers. You hear me talk about the Steelers. I love them so much. But something we also have in Pittsburgh is the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they have been bad since 1993, and it is crushing. I just want to go to a game. I want to have fun. So today I am going to share my Andrew McCutchen doll. It looks like a voodoo doll. Andrew McCutchen left the Pirates for a while, and then he came back. He is one of our best players, but he's consistent, even though we've been bad all these years. Andrew McCutchen is consistent. He shows up every day. He plays his best. Even though he's aging, he's consistent. So you know what I've decided? I wasn't always the biggest fan, but I'm walking down the steps today thinking about Andrew McCutchen, and now I think he's one of my favorites. It's the consistency that I love. So here's my little Andrew McCutchen. You see, he used to have like cornrows or long hair in the back. So this is my Andrew McCutchen doll. That's what I got for you, Tom.
So you said, I just want to clarify something. So you said, even though we've been bad for a long time,
yeah,
he's consistent. Is he consistently bad? Is that what you're...
No. Well, that's true. No, the Pirates as a team, they don't have a lot of money. They stink for a lot of reasons. They flew a flag over. Somebody flew a plane over the stadium on day one trying to get with a banner that said for the owner to sell the team. We don't spend a lot of our money. But McCutchen, even though he's old, he does his best. So he's not great, but he's not bad. And somehow in late career, he's as good as he's ever been. So come on, don't you doubt Andrew McCutchen.
Okay, I was just clarifying. I was just trying to clarify because I wasn't sure based on what you were saying, if you were saying he was consistently consistent in that he always shows up, or consistent in that he's bad every time he shows up.
He's not great. He's consistent. He's good. He's solid. He's somebody you'd want on your squad.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I think that's great. And I think, obviously, you're a Pittsburgher at heart, and, grew up right outside of Pittsburgh and have been there, your whole life, and are a diehard fan of Pittsburgh's home teams. And I appreciate that you're a fan of the Pirates, even though it has been a tough team to be a fan of for, going on 30 or over 30 years, right? You said 93 was the last good season you guys had?
Yeah, they won a championship in 79, so I was just in diapers, and I'm hoping in my lifetime that I see one where I won't be in diapers for. Either way, I mean, elderly, I could maybe go that way again, but I'm hoping before that they win a championship.
Was that a pennant win or a series win?
79 was World Series.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Come on, then in the 90s, we made it, just we didn't get the whole way, and I was crushed, and so my childhood was ripped away from me. But let's not get me into that.
That was the summer you lost your innocence.
Yeah. Okay. For all you, if there's any Pittsburghers listening, Sid Bream stole my childhood. Sid Bream left Pittsburgh, went to Atlanta, and they beat us in Game 7 when slow Sid Bream rounded third base, slid into home, and instead of us going to the World Series, it secured 30 straight losing seasons. So Sid Bream stole my youth.
All right. Well, I'm not sure I fully understand.
Cranky. I've been cranky all day, Tom. So I was cranky about fake AI. I was cranky about social media. So go on, and sales. Go on.
No, all good. I mean, yeah.
You know what time it is? It's time for you to wrap it up.
I know. I was about to do that until you interrupted me twice.
Well, you deserve a proper lead-in.
Okay.
It is time. It's that time of the show when Tom Langen from Talix Media closes it out with his wrap-up.
Then I appreciate the interruption for a lead-in. I appreciate it. I'll accept it. And because we're up against the clock here, we're running out of time. We're at 10:30. We've been live for 59 minutes and 47 seconds now. So here we go. I'm going to wrap it up super quick. I agree that more and more social media is shifting away from purely social, right? Your followers, those folks seeing your content, and shifting more towards your content being targeted towards people who may find it interesting or who will find other content similar to yours interesting. That is really the big difference. And so my advice, my thought is, do everything you can to deliver the maximum amount of value through your content you can for your audience. Do it across platform, do it everywhere you have the option to do it. Don't limit yourself to one platform. Use as many of the platforms as you can reasonably to create content that delivers value, that stacks value for your audience. And if you do that, I think over time, not only will you grow a dedicated following, but also you'll create an engaged audience. You'll build and improve your brand reputation. That work will ultimately translate into building relationships, and eventually those relationships will lead to increased sales and work and client acquisition for your business and your brand. So that's what I would say to wrap things up today. I'll keep it short and sweet and leave it there. I just want to thank everybody for being here with us in Not the Smartest Guys in the Room. For Dom, I'm Tom. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. You're the reason we show up every Wednesday here at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. And you make sure every week that we are not the smartest guys in the room. So thanks for being here with us again. We appreciate it. We couldn't do it and wouldn't do it without you. And until next Wednesday at 9:30 a.m., we hope you have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. We love you. Bye-bye.